Hey, this is Guildmaster Kent with you, and we're going to be looking at a few things today. I'm going to cover a couple different things. Um, going to cover heroes, generals, and general alliance. And then, depending on the time, we may cover town and um, things. Maybe we can do the two of them. Yeah, let's do the two of them. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, towns and heroes. So, when you first start out, you start out with the basic of basic. I recommend you start with Strider. Then, once you get a bit of money underneath your belt, I suggest and highly recommend that you get Ares. Now, what the most important thing about Ares is that once she gets over level 4, or sorry, once she gets level 4, your bank um, deposit doesn't have a fee. So that's really cool to have. And then it doesn't matter who you buy from there, but you know, um, then in Land of Earth, you get Sid, uh, Zavok, Sannao, Jelan, and Sereno. Um, I recommend that the first one you get is Sarvok, because he's a monster hunter, and you really need that um, because he's really strong in monsters until you get built up. So you're going to need him as soon as possible. So as soon as, well, by the time you're done Land of Fire to Land of Earth, you should have enough money in your bank or in your stash to buy Savok and put him on monsters, and he will help. It doesn't matter which ones you buy from there. It's all a matter of preference. Then you get Land of the Mist. Um, so, not so bad. You know, they start getting up there in good prices. And then you get Land of Fire. And the one I recommend you buy first in Land of Water is Litha, and Ruku. Okay, because they give you a bonus on attack, so which is really handy to have when you start battling. So yeah, it's really cool. And then when you get up there in your lands, you can buy Aurochs, and he's really a good uh, warrior person for lower levels. Once you get up there higher, it's not so easy. Once you get, he's in the undead realm, you can get him from there. And then you get one of my favorite generals, which is Nukutka. Okay, she's in Atlantis. The only way to get him is, or get her, sorry, is to do the sea serpents, all 4 sea serpents. The emerald, the amethyst, well, there's 4 of them. I can't remember them all, but um, get the 4 of them, and then you get pieces of the map to be able to open Atlantis. It's your preference when you want to do Atlantis. I haven't done Atlantis yet because, so you need the Emerald Sea Serpent and the Sapphire Sea Serpent the amethyst sea serpent, and then the hardest one to get is the ancient sea serpent. Uh, eh, if you do the minimum damage and then put it out, um, my fastest time killing this one was uh, an hour and 55 minutes, so that proves how much of a monster hunter this one was. So um, it's pretty. You just get the minimum, and then you put them out there because um, that's the best way. Then you have your general category. Now, it's important that whatever you're going to do, that you have the proper general, and depending on what you're going to do, a mage, a rogue, a cleric, or a warrior, or a monster hunter. I've given a vivid definition of what you should have, and gone into detail about each of those on this channel. um, Danira is really an awesome one to get. She cost 250 gold guild coins, and she's really awesome to get later and earlier in battle. She helps later on when you get into battles. She really helps. Malavus is my monster hunter. Um, Daphne is my defense general. Muse is my mage. Celestia, she's easy to get because all you have to do is complete the Orc King, which is very simple to do. That's in the first land you do, and she's very simple to do. Dominus, you get him out of a chest. Catherine, you can't get her until level 250. Dawn, you can't get her. Catherine is a warrior general. I use her as my battle general in Conquest Duel and Battle Duel and Conquest Champion. So that's what I use her as. Dawn, I use her as my healer. Mandius, I use him as a blocker in war. In the war, Dexter the drunk, I use him as a fighter in war battles. Karchien, I use him as a warrior battle or a war battle. Lauren, I use her as a war battle. Scarlet, I use her as a war battle. Larian, I use her as a battle. Now, see, Dexter only comes out at the New Year, so you have to wait to get him. But Cartian, he's easy to get in the realm of the undead. You get enough to get him. Laura is a favor general. Scarlet is a favor general. Laura is a favor general. Stafirna is easy to get because you get her from Land of Earth, and you need 5 people to join your army, or you pay 25 favor points. It's easier to get 5 favor points. Leon the Ironheart is a really good general to get. You get him by collecting the pieces. Kira is extremely hard to get. You have to complete her 25 times, and you make her in alchemy. Um, as I said, Zarfok is easy to get. Vincent is a little harder to get because he's a lot like Kira. You have to get all the pieces to build him, and he's hard to get. Uh, Haparon, he's a special general. You get him from gaining special weapons in Akeem. Uh, Serena, Seri, she's a elf, and she's a range warrior, or elf warrior, and you get her from getting, I think it's Palladium in the 100. Chromosis is a general that you get from a chest. Then Natatira is the one. Kilgore, you used to be able to get him, but I don't think you can get him anymore because he's extremely hard to get. Then you have Dante, Elena, Sanyo, Ares, and you have Elizabeth the Lunan, and Tefana is very easy to get. It's just a chest roll, and she's hard to get because you have to get the right chest roll, but she's very useful in battle, in war battles, and she's extremely easy to get. You just do a roll for her, and as I said, Haparon is he's a war general, and you get him with getting a sword and a glove, and you get that from fighting monsters. Then you have Edna and Valorant. Now, Valorant is worth the effort to get. I mean, he's not a real big general. He's not real good at anything, but later, early in life, you get him from the Land of Fire, and you have to get 5 players to join your army, and he comes to your battle. The good thing about getting him early, until you get up all the demi points done, the good thing about getting him is that he gives you extra demi points, so it's easy to get. Terra, Tentia, Mercedes, Morden, Shannaron, Galleon, Dragoon, Sophia, Snyder, Penelope, Satharon. You can get him, I think it's level 60 or something like that, or you can get him. He's a monster hunter. I mean, he's worth until you can get Mevalus. Darius is easy to get. You just have to get over 325, and he helps because, I'll tell you why he helps, because he gives you discounts on soldiers. So it's really important to have him, and I believe it's Sid gives you 5% income. I think Sanyo gives you a 6% increase. and damage deflected back at the other player. Um, so they're really worth getting. Um, Now, General Alliance, this is where you're going to make or break your characters. General Alliance is as important as layouts, where you design um, your character with energy and what power you're going to use and stuff like that. See, on my um, aggressive ones, I have um, uh, 93 alliance stance. So, um, you know, I know what I'm doing. You want to line them up with aggressive, balance with balance, and you take like um, Daphne, for instance. Um, she is a defense one, and I have her with Dawn and Catherine. So what she gets is 55 damage deflected back at 10% of your damage ruined back to the attacker. So if you're attacked, they get 55 damage dealt to them, plus 10% of your damage ruin. So 19% on cleric and passive ability, so if she gets hit, she can heal the gate. Plus 17 to base passive, and plus 17 to physical resist, or plus 64 to physical resistance. Her attack is plus 48, and her defense is plus 52, and her stance is 76. So the stance for the ones that are doing battle is not so important. It is good to have a high stance and high protect and high mentality, but it's not as important as your monster maker. Um, Now, my Nevalis, I have him on with Theron and Savok, and his stance is 78. So he gets three times the power on power attacks. 8.3% to critical hit, so I have almost a 9% chance to get a critical hit. Monster attack is plus 564. So with that, see, Thanron has plus 565 to monster attack, and Zaphoron has plus 290 to monster attack. So I get that added on top of the 3%, so I do some real damage. Now, as far as an attacker, attack 30% and plus 30 on attack and plus 29 on defense. It's not real good. Um, but the stance is high. It's at 78. The highest one you need is 75. So that's really a good place to be. Depending on what you want is very simple. Now, let's go into town. Town is very simple. In the older ones, if you have an older one, the first one you have is trade market. If you have a new one, the first one you have is territory. Now, it's important to build up your territory, to build up your cash, so that you can buy weapons and warriors and special warriors. I'll get into that in a little bit. Now, with your soldiers, it's important that you have a good amount. So after you become a knight, you get a valor knight. After you become captain, you get the barbarian captain. Very useful to have. Um, but after you get up there a little higher, you get the archangel, Michael the archangel. And so his attack is 30 attack and 25 defense. But that's all well and good, but that's okay because in war, you're pretty much going to be toast. Um, then you get the Saffrim Angel and the Platinum Knight. These are very important to have. You should have at least 100 of each of these to protect your army and build your army. The more you have, the heavier your attack. So then we go to blacksmith. Um, Blacksmith is very simple. This is the weapons you can buy. Uh, Gladiator sword. You should have, you know, at least one for every player you have. Ornate axe. Again, you should have one for every player you have. And then the commander's battle plate, which is a much better than your normal no battle plate. So it's only 12, but that's okay. Then you get the Asadenia amulet, shield, helmet, armor, and sword. These are really extremely easy but expensive to get. And later on in the game, those are the weapons you need to get into doing lands when you get up there. Then we go to magic. Now, magic is very simple because the only one you can buy is Champions Allura and the Royal Seal. Um, those are the only ones you can buy. Um, the other ones you gain from different monsters. And the more you get, the better bonuses you get. Um, you know, it's important that you do this. Well, see, you have to also remember that we also need to keep orbs. So, like Kira's orb, Gilgamesh, Colossus orb, Lotus orb, Savannah's orb, and the Athenian force field that you make in alchemy, angelic blessing that you get from a gift, hero's resolve, also a gift, and then you get the orb of Mesophilius. You get blessed nature. Stone skin comes from fighting the stone giant. Pestilence is very important to get. The orb of Death Rune, Death Rune, the forced or the frost bolt is important with having Modius, because the more of these you have, yeah, see, it's Mendius. It's defense for him. So everyone you have is a +1. So I have +5. And then you need your orbs and your magic, and you get that from doing special stuff. And the more you have, the better it is. So continue making things. I used to sell them off. I could have had a lot more, but anyway, I wasn't paying attention to the game like I do today. And then you have festival. Now doesn't really exist anymore, which is really sad because it was really cool. Um, so the only one that there is play Heart of Darkness. Sometimes you can get into it, sometimes you can't. Um, there's a few things in there that you can do, like uh, test your worth against generals of Castle Age and grab a seat and listen to tales of grand adventures. You can still do that. You can still do the tavern. Um, so it's really important that you, you do that. Um, that's my take on it. Um, and that is heroes and town. You have land. The more land you have, the more money you get in. Um, and then you have the Emporium, where you get to do special stuff. The Conquest Path, the Hunter's Path, the Guardian's Path. Conquest Path is done by uh, conquering and doing Conqueror's Quests. Hunter's Path is done by doing Miss Monsters. The Guardian's Path is done by healing in a battle. And the Engineer's Path is done by building and your up um, uh, your different um, characters. And then in here you have the guild shop where you can buy powers and stuff like that. And then the Conquest Duel shop where you can buy weapons. Some of these weapons are really cool because um, you can get the bone gauntlets and the soldier's bone gauntlet, which have um, no slots, but anyway, um, you know, then you get the earth gem, which gives you earth protection. Then you get earth fury, which uh, gives you the ability to do damage to earth monsters. Or then you get the commander's bone plate armor. There is a slot on the bone stuff. It's only one. Some of the other ones are really good. Um, and then you get Duke's Bone Blade. Now, this Bone Blade goes with a character in the Conquest War Shop. Um, and I'll tell you, he is awesome to have. Was his the Azolerator. He's awesome to have, man. He's an awesome warrior. Um, he's better than the favored generals. So, you know, then you get feats. Now these feats are very simple. Um, as you do them, you have attack feat, defense feat, energy feat, stamina feat, health feat, and army feat. These are really important to do because when you do them, it gives you power and it gives you 1 point on what you're doing. So it's really important to have, and it gives you better defense and attack and energy and stamina. Those are the ones I recommend you work on first, depending on what you're going to be. Um, the army feat you can work on last, because if you're in army groups, that army will grow, and by the time you get there, you'll be able to go all the way through it. You can only hit it once every 24 hours. It's the bad part about it, is you can only try one every 24 hours. Um, Then, as I said, you have the tavern. There's quests that you can do in the tavern with Celeste and Strider, and there's another one that you can do, and it's okay to do, but I'm going to do it after everything's done, because just I don't know, I don't see any use to it. Um, that's just my opinion, and take it for what it's worth. But that's my wrap on it, and I hope that that helped you some in Heroes and land or territory, whichever you have. May God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.